Hey, welcome to the stream and good morning. Happy Thursday. And we are getting ready to hop into the market. Should have everything set up good to go. Got about 4 minutes and 2 seconds until we actually get to the open market. Second here, I gotta send out a link. Not really too much to look at pre-market. Of course, we're just trading right in the moment anyway, so there's not too much information. Good grief, why can't I find what I'm looking for here? Good grief. There we go, I'll do it this way. Alright. Take a look at what we have in our market here. And see what we finished out with yesterday. It's always good to look at. There's that 70 hit. Should try to come up a little bit back into our other area that we were looking at, but it did do that from much lower. So it looks like we were pretty close in the analysis yesterday. And get rid of this business here because we don't need it any longer. And got a little bit of an area right here from the past we might have to watch for. Do clearly have a broken trend. Could be looking at a down day. That looks a little better. So for today, could see it pop to here and back down, or it could just continue failing on down. 49.73 is our low. 49.96, there's the 5 grand. Currently at 37.39 above. So it's about all the information we really need from the past. So we got 5,000, 49.75. We're at 39.38 right now, and 71.70 back to our level we picked out yesterday. So that was a very respectable level. I don't know if I really like that little highlight there, but I will leave it on for the moment. So that's probably going to be our trading area for the day. Okay, 20 seconds. Already kind of sloping down, but that can completely change here in just a moment. And here we go. And just like we had set up yesterday, each line is representative of $5. Going to be using the same size. And to make sure we have consistency and performance, something that's very repetitive. Should be fairly repetitive, as I've had several years of practice with it at one trade a day, or a few trades a day. Looks like we're probably going to try to reach back to that 70 mark. Already starting to get a float to the upside. A bit of a break on that line. So we have that in place. So we're not doing any kind of funny business with the limits and all. Try to get a little bit tighter grip on the stops. That'll be a limit stop instead of a market stop. So this way it'll be a little bit more exact with the exit price. Usually with a higher volume, there's not too much to worry about with slippage, but it can vary quite a bit sometimes. Using more contracts, especially once you start getting up into 20, 30, 40 contracts, limit orders would be a lot better on both sides because then you get more specific control over your price. Thinking we're going top side, but I'm going to watch and see if we don't have a small break to start traveling down. A little bit of a pinch point. That's going down.
Order submitted. Order filled.
Here we go. First trade of the day. Take an entry based on just the momentum of the dive. We've also got a little bit of a minor trend line there that broke. So how is everyone doing today? Not sure if we have anyone on the stream yet. Keep the chat open. And each day I'll be scheduled. I'll be doing pretty much the same thing. I'll be coming in just a few minutes before market opens. And we'll just jump right into the trading. Keep an eye on this little area. This could be support right here. Tighten that down a little bit. Got about $14 of risk there. I don't have the margin or intraday or any of that set up right now currently, but if you are looking to trade futures, margins could be a bit of a concern, especially if you're on a smaller account. For typical hours trading during the New York session, you're going to see your intraday margin. So if you're checking to see margin costs for your different brokers, the intraday margin is going to be the one that you'll be trading with during regular market hours. Anything outside of the market hours, which are generally in the New York session when you're trading in New York or trading in the U.S. instruments, that's going to be from 9:30 to 4 New York time. Anytime you're trading outside those hours, though, you will have to be mindful that your margin will be a lot higher. So typically it's not a good idea to trade outside of hours just because of the lack of volume. And it looks like we're getting 8 up there, and it's going to try to come back. So
Order filled.
Wrong button. I wanted that one.
Order submitted. Order filled.
There we go. And so if you are using a smaller account, it could be something to definitely look out for. You may run into some trouble, and you may actually wind up mostly having to work with the minis. So you're going to be looking at the Russell 2K, the Dow. We've got the micro that I'm actually trading now, the S&P 500. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of a rough start today again. I think I'm going to let this sit. Nah, that's not going well at all. Being a little bit sluggish too on our executions. I may have to use the stream delay because that's putting quite a bit of stress on the stream.
Order filled.
I'll go back to the sell and let that sit there. Looks like we just basically had a push high and then it wiped it completely back out with the bear candle. Hope we don't have another start like yesterday where it really just doesn't want to make up its mind. Should probably focus a little more on the chart. But all in all, you should have about 6 or so different instruments that you could choose from, though, if you're using a smaller account that will have the $50 intraday margins. You can also do certain currencies, although it really doesn't work out to be very beneficial to try to trade the futures of currencies. Kind of works out about the same as actually trading them directly, but you actually end up having to have a much higher margin requirement. Most brokers, it's usually it's typically going to be the same margin requirement as if you had a 0.01 through a forex broker at 50 to 1 leverage. So for example, if we were to buy a future on the Euro USD, we would need about $231 of margin outside of market hours in order to hold that position, but it would still be $50 inside the market hours. But you also have to consider you're going to have a higher commission cost because you're actually paying for writing the contract, and those will typically run on Top Step. You'll be paying actually the same price, I believe $1.42, and some other brokers, like for example, if you're trading directly through NinjaTrader, it would be $1.89. So the commission costs are going to be substantially more and not be beneficial to try to trade, to try to actually scout futures with currencies. So that's why I've kind of moved to the S&P or the Russell. I'm also going to be checking out the Dow Mini. Look at a few others. Another NASDAQ 100 is also one of the ones listed on the Mini. It does require a $100 intraday margin. Also moves quite a bit further, even though the values are similar to the Russell. It's not uncommon, though, to see the NASDAQ jump 20 points, which would be a significant change in your trading account balance. I would probably think we might start to see a bottom right here, but let's see if we break some lows. Bring the stop down a little bit. A few rough trades are not going to stop much because all we'll need is one good gain and we can actually get double of what we're down already out of one trade, no problem still, so no stress. Try to work on some of the things I noted yesterday. One is hanging on to a trade a little bit longer just to make sure, get a little bit more certainty. Happens a few times in the past, and happened yesterday for sure, where I got out and ended up getting right back in the same direction. I almost kind of feel like it's about to turn up, but I'm going to let it sit and see if it continues down, because we've got pretty much a channel kind of formed right here. Yeah, I think I'm going to get out of that and sit for a minute.
Filled.
I'm almost certain that's going to pop back up.
Order filled.
And send it. Cover the bottom. Quite a bit of upside potential if it does want to retrace. That is a very strong bullish candle. Just took out the top of the last engulfing bearish candle. We didn't continue after that bearish candle, so that's probably a good indication that it's a turning point in the market, or it's time to change directions, at least temporarily. Also have a break of that trend line area. I want to hold off on adding an extra to it. Hold off on adding and hold on to the position. I'm mostly looking at that line there. So that's where the candles seem to be formed most consistent. So I'm kind of just observing this little group here. Get a break of that high and I'll add on one more contract. Let's get a good break. Let's send one
Order
more.
filled.
Go ahead and send it from there. We'll just cover the bottom of break candle. Yeah. Well, that is not working out at all. It's not yet, anyway.
Order canceled. Order filled.
Yeah, everything is being very slow with the stream setup. Right now we are 94 down. Still good to get in one trade. If we get some kind of direction out of this market, right now it's being a little stubborn about where it wants to go. Let's see if we can give it a moment to clear that area. Strong sell pressure.
Order filled.
Probably gonna get me again. So we kind of need that to get back to even at this point. But we may end up having to take it back in a couple of trades. Sometimes that does happen.
Order filled.
Place one more in there. Because we do have a little bit of certainty now that we're closing outside of the area, running outside of the area. We'll give it a little time to see if it'll complete the move. And now just a little bit of a waiting game. Getting a little bit of a break now. See if it'll run this time. Because it got 2 contracts, each line is actually $10. Try to come out, if we reach into this level, try to come into a gain by that before we actually reach that point. If it wants to go. Still getting some strong selling in the market. Oh my goodness. Does not look like it's going to be our day. Give it one more go. If the next trade fails, then this will be the end of the session. Don't have very much room to work with in this account. I'm trying to work with larger sizes at first, kind of put it in the hole. So this one may end up needing to be reset. No big deal though. Strategy's got this account in trouble, and there's not a whole lot of room to play with some math tricks, so unfortunately this one kind of requires a bit more tact in order to make it through. So that's why a lot of times it tends to be a challenge to even just pass a challenge sometimes. In most cases, only about 20% of those who attempt will actually pass. It's much better to lose this small entry fee for the account than it is to try to lose all of your own bank. So it's a lot easier to be relaxed and not stress so much. Still getting a little bit of a downward trend. It seems to be a fairly quiet day. Still not getting that big move out, like what you would normally see right off the 730. It's the second day in a row it didn't do that. Still kind of feel like that change of direction from a little bit further above is about to happen. I'm going to wait for something to change in the market though before I take another entry. So it's certainly been a rough start to the day. May have just been a bit too aggressive with the stop. More than likely, that is another common thing that I have an issue with sometimes. I just have to let it ride. Kind of falls in that same category of habit. So even if you're not streaming or anything like that, it is good to actually record your trades on video. It's one of the best ways to journal. So over time I can go back and look at these and see how things have progressed, see what kind of other issues I might have, and then just gradually work them out one at a time. It's a lot easier to just focus on one different thing and try to fix that. And then as you make progress, get better with that, then you start to notice other issues and just gradually focus on one small thing at a time. And then gradually you'll have all different areas on point, and that will allow you to have the biggest advantage in the market, because knowledge is actually going to be your edge. Not some pattern, not some strategy or trick or technique. It's the experience that is actually the edge. Because a lot of times the market is never doing the same thing twice, so you're always having to make a judgment. And the best way to make that judgment is just based on simple experience. So sadly, there is no magic formula or magic way to instantly make you better. You just have to kind of get involved in the market and play around and learn how it moves, and mainly just practice. A lot of practice at first, and work on building that experience. And doing that in a demo account, you can actually do that for just the cost of your time. So a lot of times it's recommended to stay in a demo account until you actually get a good consistent gain. I'm using a challenge account that is kind of tied to a monetary reward. I do feel like at least using some amount of money, some amount of value beyond just time, is actually much better, because then you can actually work on your own thinking. It's one thing when you're working with a demo, you can just literally hit a button and reset the account. You can put it to whatever value you want. But when you're working with an account that would have some certain restrictions,
Order filled.
then it kind of causes you to be a little bit more careful in what you're doing. So just a few things to keep in mind and notate, depending on which route you want to take. I did check with Top Step. I did hear back from them. They do have something to offer, but they haven't really said much. I've already done the form to fill out, so I may have a link here soon to make it easy to just click, but currently do not have that. Once I get it, though, I'll add it to the past videos and just have that with the live stream, and that should be about the only thing I'm gonna worry about putting on here, I think. And then that will be pretty much the structure and layout of the channel. Pretty much what we're doing now is what's going to continue to happen. So live streams every day. If we have room to trade, I'll be on. If we reach our limit for the day, I'm going to set the limit for 150. It's about half of what I've got left before I reach the cutoff volume balance. That'll leave me enough to trade Friday. Should today go bad, and then worst case, reset and be good to go for Monday. I'm going to stick with just one contract right now. I'm going to worry about adding any. Got to get at least a win first. Haven't had a win yet today. Take a bit of risk out, see if it'll fly. Not sure if music would be a good idea or not. I've seen a lot of complaints about music in videos for actually a very long time and a lot of other different subjects, so not too sure if that's going to be a great choice or not. Let me know in the comment though what you guys think. Music or no? Do something without lyrics mostly. Gotta break across the trend. Now this entry here was taken based kind of on momentum. They had the strong push and then things kind of stopped and started to retreat. So that's when I was referencing when talking about looking at this in just terms of data and using the time factor to note a change in momentum. Usually once you get that change in momentum, it's typical that the market will at least go back the other way a little bit. It's very rare when you get two big candles side by side. About 90% of the time, you're going to see some type of change in momentum. The candles will go from large to small and then go back the other way and get large again. And then when they get small, then they tend to go back the other way and get large again. And that one wasn't very significant right here or here, but it's kind of along the same lines of the trend. So you can kind of group these together to look at this as just one line, and then we've got a little bit of a stop and momentum going back and so on and so forth. And that is the main pattern of the market. And that's really the only specific pattern that you can watch for and actually rely on, because most of the time, because notice we had a strong push, slowed back, and then it slowed again, going back the other way. And now let's see if we continue up and reach up to this area here next. Bring the limit order up to the low. So that trade is good. We'll live to see at least one more trade today. Expect some sort of retracement. Kind of went straight down to this area, so it hasn't had much relief to go back. Got a little bit of a gappage here in this area, so I would expect, if nothing else, to go at least to 50-60. I'm going to bring the stop up. This will cut us down in losses for a significant portion. Expect some sort of retrace to possibly happen. We've got a lot of traffic in these levels. That would have been a good spot to take too, but can't really understand or know what's going to happen until it starts to happen. And we've got a drop in momentum, so I'm going to take that off and try to catch a retrace off the bottom. So we're down 61.53 at the moment. Added 50 back into the account. So we're going to be looking around 50.30 or so. Maybe possibly come back to 50.40 on the next round.
Order filled.
Let's risk a little bit to see if we can catch the short going back down. Not so certain about that. Certainly do have the stop in momentum, but it could just decide to continue up from here. And that looks like that's what it's going to do.
Order submitted. Order filled.
And I'll stop underneath the low. I'll let this one go for a minute. If we do get that strong push, it could be a good indication to hold. To let this thing go up back to 50, 60, 20 points. A lot of buyers in the market right now. So any risk now in the trade, just go to the bottom of that candle. See if we can get a good run. We've already broken that last high. Again, not going to add anything on. Just going to let it go. A little bit more waiting. The wicks don't really give me a good indication or feeling, but I am seeing some very strong pushes continuing up though to recover those wicks as it's forming the candle. So a little bit of a mixed indication. Still quite the push off the bottom. Completely cleared that whole area before, so this would indicate that's a fake low, grabbing maybe some liquidity. Once it takes this high, it should continue. And the high just broke. Move the stop just a little bit. Go right under the low. So that's no risk on the trade now at this point. Let's see if it will continue. So we can speed that execution up just a little bit. highest point is 44.25, so I think we'd have to break that to continue at this point. Looks like it doesn't want to go. Give it just a bit longer though. Got a new mark at 50.45. Still overall creeping up. We do have a little bit of a halt. There we go. We finally got a break of the 50.45. See if it starts to pick up momentum or if we keep wicking. So I have an overall upward demeanor. Mostly just looking at this little area here. And I think our retracement is finally starting to come in. Maybe short-lived.
Stop filled.
No, we're going to get that retracement now. I'll wait to see for the next push up. We are definitely looking long. I don't want to take too many shorts, so I don't feel like they're going to go very far. $71.87 now currently for the drawdown for the day. See if we get a little bit of a push back out of this level here, or if we come all the way back to the line. Just getting quite a bit of push, so I'm going to go
Order filled.
short and cover just the very top of this candle that we're entering on. Keep things rather close. No, the
Order
hunch was
filled.
right. I'll go back
Order
out long,
filled.
cover the low, see if it continues to go upwards from this point. Well, we do have a lot of buying pressure in the market currently. Comes that buying pressure again. Not having any faith in that now. I think we might be starting on
Order
that
filled.
downtrend.
Order filled.
Going back down. Give this one more shot. Come back. See if we go down to the 50-10 level or so. I almost think that this is going to try to continue to push down and finish making that level. Very strong sell candle. Breakout level should stay as resistance, so we should be in good shape, showing an overall down market structure. how is it going to go? Probably not our way. This is not looking to be a great day so far. If this trade is knocked out, then this will probably be the final trade. And again, even when it was going our direction, was not a very good idea. Because if it's not correct, then it ends up being double the problem to have to fix later. I kind of put things a little deeper than they should be. Looks like it's trying to come off of this level here. I'll flip this over.
Order filled.
Cover the lowest point. Looks like it's trying to use that level off the 50-30. Need 100 out of the recovery.
Stop filled.
That's a wrap. So we're down 121. The stop out on the account is going to be 48,636. So that leaves just a bit under 200 left before we get basically faced with a situation where I'd have to reset the account. So for today, it just was not a good day. A lot of chop. One good move out of it, but now everything's chopping back around. Kind of hard to say what's going to happen, but it does look like it's just probably just a fairly slow day today. That's no problem though. Pretty good session, few good ideas. Little bit of improvement overall, though the hit rate is crap. We did manage to add in some of the improvements from yesterday. Let me see, that's actually not going to include the stat that I wanted to look at. This one will. Okay, let's see how we did for today. Rather poorly. Very low. But this number here is kind of what I was mostly focused on for today, is that time in the market. Got to try to hang on to some of these trades a little bit longer, because it does happen quite a bit where I'll get out a little bit too early and maybe even change my thinking of direction, when in fact I should have just been patient a few more minutes. So I've just been trying to wait on one or two more candles than what I would normally wait on. And this day just was not a good day to work with, but I think overall improved on the things that I wanted to improve in that area. So other than doubling up, which is probably a bad idea for the future, won't do that anymore, and winning a little bit less than usual as well. I would need this to be at least a 2-to-1 with the current hit rate to actually have that profitable. So not quite enough hit rate today, not quite enough gain out of the trades. Holding just a bit longer, but that did not seem to help us out much today. Shorts were the longest but overall average I did come up just a couple of minutes. Still not really getting a whole lot of movement, no sudden movement. The real sudden move happened earlier this morning at about an hour before market open, so quite a significant turn of events to start the day. Does look like things are trying to continue downward, but we've got a slow up in momentum. A little bit of a level here, plus the strong push out. It's a little mixed right here. It's quite a mixed area. Might be better trading on going after lunch, but this morning was just not a day for our favor. So I'm just going to wrap it up here, and we'll come back tomorrow. I'll be a bit more rested as well. Usually the beginning of the week is the roughest point of time for me. I get the least amount of sleep earlier in the week, and then later in the week I get a bit more rested. So hopefully tomorrow turns to be a better day, but today was definitely a bust. Alright, have a great day. Enjoy whatever free time you get, and I'll catch you on the next live stream.